Good morning, my dear students. Now we discuss SAG calculation for supports are at equal levels. Supports are at equal levels means there are two supports are in same height. SAG calculation for supports are at equal levels. So the pole A, the pole B, both are in same height. This is a conductor. The distance between pole A to pole B is nothing but length of span. This is the point O, which is the midpoint. From the midpoint of conductor to pole A is L by 2. Length of span by 2 or length of conductor by 2. From the lowest point of conductor O to pole B, the distance is L by 2. That is the length of span by 2. The point O is the lowest point of conductor is located in middle of conductor because two supports are at equal levels. This is a point P. From the point O to point P, the distance is x. From the point O to point P, the distance is y. From the pole B to point O, the distance in vertical direction is S. So y also a vertical direction, x is in horizontal direction. So T is nothing but tension of conductor. So already I told that tension is nothing but stiffness in between two supports. The very important point is there is no sag, no tension is very more. Means no sag. If you using more sag means there is more wastage of conductor. If you using more tension means that stiffness in between two supports are very high, that causes breakdown of conductor. So in order to maintain good erection of conductors or good design of conductor, you must be kept tension sag or in between, means sag not more, tension not more. You maintain in between, sag and tensions are at required level. Suppose AOB is the conductor, AOB is a conductor, A and B are points of support, A and B are the points of support. Point O is the lowest point and the midpoint. Both point O is the lowest point and also midpoint of the conductor. Let L is equal to length of span. W is the weight per unit length of conductor. T is the tension in the conductor. We have chosen any point on conductor, say point P. The distance of point P from the lowest point O is x. The distance of point O and point P is nothing but x. Y is the height from point O to the point P. Y is the height in between vertical direction. Point O to point P, y. Y is the equating two moments of two forces about point O as per the figure above we get. Here there is a two forces. One is act on vertical direction, another one is horizontal direction. Equating both forces. Ty, tension T into y in vertical position is equal to Wx into x by 2. What you get? Now y becomes y is equal to Wx square by 2t. When y is equal to s and x is equal to L by 2, then sag s is equal to WL square by 8t. When the two supports are at equal heights, the sag s is equal to WL square by 8t, which are very important. Sag s is equal to WL square by 8t when the supports are at equal levels. Second one, sag calculation for supports are at unequal levels. In before case, we maintain supports are at equal levels, the point O located middle of conductor. But whenever the supports are at unequal levels, definitely point O not in middle of conductor. That is located nearer to the lowest point of conductor, which is the lowest point of conductor. So this is A, B, two supports, point O located nearer to the A because the height of point A or the pole height of point A is very low compared to point B. S1 is, there are two sags because the supports are at unequal levels, mean there are two sags, sag S1 and sag S2. The difference between two sags are H. The difference between two sags is nothing but H is equal to S2 minus S1. What is the X1? From the point A to point O distance is X1. From point O to point B distance is X2. The total length of span from point A to point B is L. L is equal to X1 plus X2 from the figure. X1 plus X2 is equal to L. Suppose AOB is the conductor that has point O as the lowest point. L is the span of the conductor. H is the difference in height level between two supports. X1 is the distance of supports at the lower level point A from O. X2 is the distance of support at the upper level point B from O. T is the tension of the conductor. W is the weight per unit length of the conductor. Now, sag S1 is equal to W x1 square by 2t and sag S2 is equal to W x2 square by 2t. Already we know sag S is equal to W x square by 2t. Now sag S1 becomes W x1 square by 2t. Sag S2 becomes W x2 square by 2t. From the figure, x1 plus x2 is equal to L, length of span. Already we know. So the difference between two supports are two sags. S2 minus S1 is equal to W x2 square by 2t minus W x1 square by 2t. Take W by 2t as a common. We get x2 square minus x1 square. That can be rewritten as W by 2t x2 minus x1 of x2 plus x1. But we know x2 plus x1 is nothing but L. L is nothing but length of span from point A to point B. Substitute x2 plus x1 is nothing but L. So what that becomes, the equation becomes S2 minus S1 is equal to WL by 2t x2 minus x1. Already we know S2 minus S1 is equal H, the difference between two sags. So then equation becomes H is equal WL by 2t x2 minus x1. That means x2 minus x1 is equal to 2th by WL. Equation 1. What is the equation 1? x1 plus x2 is equal to L. Equation 2. x2 minus x1 is equal to 2th by WL. Solve the equation 1 and 2. We get x1 value is equal to L by 2 minus th by WL and x2 is equal to L by 2 plus th by WL. So, having calculated the value of x1 and x2. So, what are the value of x1 and x2? x1 is equal to L by 2 minus th by WL and x2 is equal to L by 2 plus th by WL. So, having calculated the value of x1 and x2, we can easily find out the value of sag S1 and sag S2. The above formula are used to calculate sag when the conductor is in still air and ambient temperature is normal. Hence, the weight of the conductor is its own weight. When the supports are at equal heights, sag S is equal to WL square by 80. When the supports are at unequal levels, we can calculate x1 and x2 values. From that, we can easily calculate the sag. So factors affecting the sag. So what are the factors affecting the sag? So what is the sag formula? Sag S is equal WL square by 80. Definitely sag is directly proportional to the weight of conductor. Sag is directly proportional to the length of conductor. Sag S is inversely proportional to the tension of conductor. Already we discussed. Whenever the sag increasing means tension decreasing. Tension increasing means sag decreasing. Both are inversely proportional. So tension maximum means there is more possibility of breakdown of conductor. Sag is very more means there is more wastage of conductor. So you must be kept sag and tensions are at required levels. So what are the factors affecting the sag? First one, conductor weight. Already I told that the conductor weight directly proportional to the sag. Sag of the conductor is directly proportional to its weight. The weight of the conductors is increased due to ice loading. Ice loading is nothing but snow. Around the conductor there is a possibility of snow formation, that is nothing but ice loading. So whenever the ice loading is more means definitely the weight of conductor is increases. Span. Sag is directly proportional to the square of the span length because S is equal to WL square by 80. Longer span gives more sag. Tension. The sag is inversely proportional to the tension in the conductor. Higher tension increases the stress in the insulator and supporting structure. Wind. Wind, it increases sag in the inclined direction. Inclined means there is a conductor. If you put the wind pressure to you, definitely that is a increase the sag in inclined direction. Increase the sag in inclined direction. And also temperature. The sag is reduced at a low temperature and increases at higher temperature. Means temperature increases, the sag also increases. These are the factors affecting the sag: conductor weight, span, tension, wind, temperature. What is the effect of ice and wind on sag? These are the very important. What is the effect of ice and wind? So ice coating is nothing but snow formation around the conductor. So wind also we know that. So more air pressure causes the conductor weight is increased in horizontal direction. More wind causes, if there is a conductor, there is a more wind causes, the weight of conductor is increases. Effect of ice causes, effect of snow causes, the weight of conductor increases in vertical direction. The wind causes weight of conductor increases in horizontal direction. The weight per unit length of conductor is changed when wind blows at certain force on the conductor and ice accumulate around the conductor. Wind force acts on the conductor to change the conductor self weight per unit length horizontally. Already we discussed in the direction of the airflow. So the wind force acts on the conductor to change the conductor self weight per unit length horizontally in the direction of the airflow. Ice loading acts on the conductor to change the conductor self weight per unit length vertically downwards. The snow formation causes vertically downwards. So wind causes horizontally, the weight of conductor increases. Considering wind force and ice loading both at a time, the conductor will have a resultant weight per unit length. The resultant weight will increase an angle with the ice loading downward direction. So normally the weight of ice loading causes the weight of conductor increases vertical direction. So the weight of wind causes the weight of conductor increases in horizontal direction. So the resultant weight, this is a resultant weight, will create an angle with the ice load in downward direction. Let us assume W is the weight of the conductor per unit length. Wi is the weight of ice per unit length. So weight of ice is equal to density of ice into volume of ice per unit length. So please observe. So this is the ice coating thickness T. Ice coating thickness D is the diameter of conductor. So what happens whenever the thickness increases? Definitely the conductor weight increases in vertical direction. How many thicknesses are there? There are two thickness, because in left hand side and also a right hand side there is a thickness T. Definitely the thickness, they have two thicknesses. So what is the Wi? Weight of ice per unit length is equal to density of ice into volume of ice per unit length. Density of ice into what is the volume? Pi by 4 of d plus 2t whole square minus d square into 1. So why we using 2t? They have two thicknesses, t plus t, that becomes 2t, t plus 2t whole square minus d square. So finally the formula becomes density of ice into pi t of d plus t. Ww is the force of wind per unit length. Ww is equal to wind pressure per unit area into projected area per unit length. So wind pressure into projected area, that is nothing but d plus 2t into 1. Already I told that thicknesses, they have two thicknesses, d plus 2t. So the total weight of the conductor per unit length is equal to, total weight is nothing but resultant weight is equal to root of weight of conductor plus weight of ice coating whole square. Because weight of ice coating and weight of conductor, the weight is increases in vertical direction. Weight of ice coating and actual weight of conductor increases the weight in vertical direction. Weight of wind increases the weight of conductor in horizontal direction. And tan theta is equal to WW by W plus WI. How can we get? We see the vector diagram. So this is the weight of conductor and weight of ice coating, weight of wind pressure. If you, theta is the angle difference in between total weight of conductor to weight of conductor plus weight of ice coating. So definitely find out tan theta or theta. Theta is equal to tan inverse of WW by W plus WI. So similarly, the vertical sag is equal to S cos theta. So this way the effect of ice and the effect of wind will be acted on conductor. Thank you.